continuation of the chapter Principle of Inheritance. So, in Principle of Inheritance, in last class, we have learned regarding monohybrid cross and also regarding the Gregor Mendel also we have studied. So, in this video, we'll be learning that is part 2, that is Mendel's law of inheritance. So, with the Mendel's law of inheritance, the Mendel law of inheritance describes us to tell the experiment which he has conducted regarding the back cross, the test cross, dihybrid cross, and the concept of the dominance. So his laws are based on all these concepts. So when we regard with the genetics, usually we learn the important concept, that is monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, and also other than the crosses, we also learn regarding back cross and also regarding the test cross. Okay, so the law of Mendel's law is the one which initiates many genetics experiments and also true breedings. Regarding the true breedings, it is also related to the biotechnology of today's and molecular biology. These all are based on the genetics which is given by the Gregor Mendel, and so Mendel law is always an attribute towards the genetics. Okay. So all his law is based on his experiment, and he was the only person to identify the true breeding varieties where he had grown the pea plants, and by his experiment he was able to conclude the seven different characteristics. Based on these seven different characteristics only, he was able to conduct his experiments. Now let us know the seven experiments so that you will be able to understand easily the dihybrid cross. So the seven characters which he had selected was: first was stem height. In stem height, the contrasting pairs or the contrasting characters in the parent, what he has been taken was, one was dominant, another one was recessive character. So in the last video, I have said you about regarding in human body also there are many dominating character and also recessive characters. So here in the stem height, the dominant character is tall and the recessive character is a dwarf. Then coming to the flower position. The flower position might be the axial. Axial means at the tip, and also terminal. So axial means, you know, the flowers which are born at the apex or the axis, we call it as axial. That is a dominating character, and the terminal character, the flower born to the terminals, we call it as terminal. So that is a recessive character. Then thirdly, flower color. So flower color he had taken is violet and white. So in which violet was represented to be the dominating and white was represented to be as the recessive. Then coming to pod shape. So here pod shape is given. The pod shape here we have given a word inflated, then constricted. Inflated can be said to be as a fully I mean, it is entire. There is no restrictions like there is no furrows or ridges. If there is a find of like this furrows and ridges, we call it to be as a constricted one. Pod color. So pod color he had taken the green and also the yellow in his crosses. So they were green and yellow. Coming to the seed shape, he had taken the round and wrinkled. So here you can see this is the round and this is wrinkled. Then the seed color he had taken, that was yellow and green, where yellow is considered to be the dominating, green was considered to be the recessive characteristic. So these were the seven characteristic which he has identified in the true breeding varieties where he selected. So in the pea plant only was able to find out all these characteristics. So based on this characteristic only experiment was done, and also monohybrid, dihybrid crosses were being done. Okay. Okay. So coming to the back cross and the test cross. What is back cross? Cross between a hybrid and it's any of one parent, we call it as back cross. So here back cross or the test cross, the both were being done to identify the unknown individuals also, And backcross and test cross were the valuable tool for that only determining the genotype of an organism, individual organism. So he did both the backcross and also the test cross. So backcross, as I told you, a cross between an hybrid and its any parent, we call it as a backcross. Coming to the test cross, crossing of an organism with a dominant phenotype to a recessive individual. If this sentence is difficult for you, in a very easy way, I'll tell you. It is a cross between a F1 hybrid with any one parent. So it is a cross between a F1 hybrid with its recessive parent, means it becomes a test cross. The cross between the F1 hybrid with any of its parent means it becomes the back cross. So that is a very easy to understand. So test cross means a cross between a, instead of dominant, you can think the cross between a F1 generation with its recessive parent. We call it as a test cross. That what I have shown in the slide also. See, this is a test cross which has been shown here. In the test cross, the F1 generation is a heterozygous, that is a F1 hybrid, that is capital T and a small t, which is crossed with the recessive parent, that is a 2 small t. So here is a cross. So a small capital T, this is a capital T. The capital T is crossed with the recessive parent. So if it is crossed, what is the individual you get? You get this is the one, tall. That is capital T, small t. Again, the small t is crossed with the, again with this recessive parent. You will get a 2 small t, that is draft. So hence in the monohybrid test cross, the ratio exist will be 1:1. So that is shown in the diagram also. So this is a F1 hybrid. So when the F1 hybrid is crossed with the recessive parent T, you get one tall and one draft. So that exists in the ratio of 1:1. So the test cross is used to find out the unknown genotype of a character. So Mendel conducted a test cross to determine the F2 genotypes. So in F2, what do we find? We find 1:2:1 as such. So that was being determined by that of the test cross also. So this is regarding the test cross. So coming to the first law of inheritance, in the first law of inheritance, the first law is law of dominance. So the first law of dominance, it states that when two contrasting characters are present in a single individual, that is in a hybrid. So this, when we consider monohybrid cross, this is an hybrid. This is of F1 generation, we'll think. Okay. So this is the product of the F1 generation, which we call it to be the hybrid. So if this is hybrid, so this is the hybrid here. So here we tell when two contrasting characters are present in a single individual, that is hybrid, only one character is considered as a dominant, which is being expressed. If this T is expressed, it is called, it will be expressed since it is a dominating characteristic. It is called as a dominant, and the one which is suppressed is called as a recessive. So here capital T is said to be the dominating character and small t is said to be the recessive one. So here I have written 3 points. The characters are controlled by discrete units called as a factors. So capital T is one factor, means small t is another factor. Then factors occur in a pairs. That's what I told you. The factors occurs in a pair. In this pair, one will be dominating, another will be recessive. In a dissimilar pair of factors, one member of the pair dominates the other. So here is the dissimilar one which you are seeing around. So in the dissimilar, one is dominant, another one is recessive. So law of segregation. coming to the law of the segregation. This is the second law of the Mendel. So here in second law of the Mendel, here the law states as such: during gamete formation, the factors of a character pair present in parents segregate from each other such that a gamete receives only one of the two factors. Means a gamete may receive one of the two. There will be two factors. It may receive only one factor among that, which we call it as law of segregation. So if this is difficult to understand, I will state it in a different way that you can write it also. The law of segregation states that whenever a pair of factors for a character is brought together in a hybrid, they segregate or separate during the formation of gametes. I'll repeat once again. It states that whenever a pair of factors, okay, that is C, a pair of factors, this is a pair of factors, okay, brought together in an hybrid. So this is brought together in an hybrid. They segregate or separate during gamete formation. So they get segregated, that is they get separated during gamete formation. So this is one gamete and this is one gamete. Or here only it can be understood also. So in the similar pair of factors, this is two factors are brought together, okay, in a hybrid. So if this is an hybrid, they will get separated. So this is one, this is another one. So they get separated or segregated during gamete formation. So this is one gamete, this is another gamete. Here also you can see a pair of factors are brought together in a hybrid, okay. So they get separated during gamete formation. So this is one gamete, this is another gamete. Here also you can consider in this way: a pair of factors brought together in an hybrid, they get separated during gamete formation, such as capital T and also the small t. Then homozygous, second point is that homozygous parent produces similar gametes, that is this is an example. Heterozygous parent produce two kinds of gametes, each have one allele with equal proportion. So this is a heterozygous condition where you can see both are dissimilar gametes. Okay. So that is the law of segregation. So what is the actual statement of the law of segregation? When a pair of factors for a character is brought together in a hybrid, they segregate or separate during the formation of gametes is called to be as what? Law of segregation. Okay, or law of purity of gametes also we can tell. Okay. So coming to the inheritance of two genes. So in inheritance of two genes means it is dihybrid cross. So what do you mean by the dihybrid cross? A cross between a two parent. This is a definition for dihybrid cross. A cross between a two parents differing in two pairs of contrasting characters. For example, here the Mendel had taken a cross between a pea plant with a round shaped and yellow colored seeds and wrinkle shaped and green colored seeds. So how do we write it? Round yellow into wrinkled green. This were a pair of character. This is one character. This is another character. Here also this is one character. This is another character. Means he has taken how many pairs? Two pairs of contrasting characters. We cross between two parents differing in two pairs of contrasting characters. So which are the two pairs of contrasting characters? Round yellow and wrinkled green. So round yellow is a dominating character. So it will be represented as capital R, and yellow will be represented as capital Y. So it will be in pairs only. So like this. Then it is crossed with the recessive character wrinkled. So round and wrinkled are said to be the shape. So we will write it as a small r wrinkled and a small y for green. So this is a two pairs of contrasting characters. So what is the definition of dihybrid cross? It is a cross between the two parents differing in a two pair of contrasting characteristic. We call it as dihybrid cross. So this is a schematic of a dihybrid cross. How do we write? First we write the parents. So the parent is what? Homozygous round yellow. Then homozygous wrinkled gin. It is represented as a capital 2 double R, capital 2 double Y into 2 small r, 2 small y. So the gametes are such. So here you can see capital R, capital Y, then small r, small y. So when this is been crossed, so when it is been crossed in F1 generation, you get in this way heterozygous round yellow. I have said you the capital letters represents the characteristic, the small letter the recessive one, so it is suppressed. So how do we pronounce? Because here it is capital R, so it is round. Here capital Y is existing, so it is yellow. So together we call F1 as a round yellow. Then self-crossing the round yellow, you get four types of alleles such as gametes. One is capital R, capital Y, capital R, small r, capital Y, small r, small y. So this will be crossed in a checkerboard. Okay, it will be crossed in a checkerboard or Punnett square also we call it as. So how it will be crossed? See here. So this you have to cross and write. How to cross? I will tell you. Just to see how to cross. As you have crossed the monohybrid, you have to cross this. So capital R and the Y is crossed with capital R and Y. So what is the result you get here? So you get here 2 capital R, 2 capital Y. In the same way, this will be crossed with the capital R, capital Y. Again, it will be crossed with this one and written here. Again, it will be crossed with the last allele and written here. Okay. So in the same way, you'll cross each one. So like this, capital R and small y with a capital R and a small y. So like this you will write. This again goes with this. If you cross, the product is written. Okay. The same way, this you will cross and the product is written here. Again it is crossed here and right here. So this goes on for everything. So this is a checkerboard or Punnett square. So you have to cross all. When you cross all, you will find out the phenotypic ratio. The phenotypic ratio we tell usually it is round yellow. Let us find out how many round yellow are there. So here two capital R and two small capital Y represent round yellow. How many they are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So we'll write here 9 is to round green 1, 2 and 3. So we'll write here 9 is to 3. Okay. And it's to wrinkled yellow. Coming to wrinkled yellow, we have 1, 2, and the 3. We'll write 3 up. Again, is to how many wrinkled green are there? Only 1. So what is the phenotypic ratio means? 9 is to 3 is to 9 is to 3, 3 is to 3 is to 1. No, see observe the checkerboard. So this is a phenotypic ratio. Okay. So this is how we have written. Coming to the C. Phenotypic ratio, can you see 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. Now, observing the F2, Mendel found that yellow and green color segregated in a ratio of 3 is to 1 ratio. Round and wrinkled seed shape also segregated in a ratio of 3 is to 1. So this how it was being segregated. So as I have written, only they have written. This red color you can see 9 round yellow which are in red coloration. Then 3 round green, that is round green which are represented in the purple color. Then 3 wrinkled yellow, so this is represented in green. Then 1 wrinkled green, which is light purplish in color. So this ratio can be derived as a combination series of yellow, 3 yellow, 1 green with 3 round, 1 wrinkled. So this ratio is written in this form, that is 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. So this is a phenotypic ratio. Okay. Now coming to the genotypic ratio, how to write about the genotypic ratio. Here you can see how they have cancelled based on the genetic constitution. There it was morphological constitution. Here it is genetical constitution. So here they have written 2 capital R and 2 capital Y. Like this, how many exist in this checkerboard wing? This is the only one which is existing. So it is 1. Then 2 capital R, 1 capital Y with 1 small y. How many are there? 2. So let us check here. So this is the one. 1. Where is another one? Here. Here 1. So it is how many? 2. So this is also correct. Then here 2 capital Y, 1 small r, 1 capital R. So like this also they have to be 2. Where they are? Here. 1. One more. Yes, here. No? So 2. Okay. Then all are 1 1. Capital R, small r, capital Y, small y, which exist in 4. So which are the 4 1 here? So this is the one. Here 1. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4. Correct it is. Then 2 capital R, 2 small y. How many there? 1. Where it is? 2 capital R here. Round green. So only 1 is there in this type. So it is 1. Then 2 small y with 1 capital R and 1 small r. 2 small y here. Okay. So it is also money 1 and here 1. 2. Then 2 small r, 2 capital Y. Only one it is. This one, wrinkled green. One. Two small r with one capital Y and one small y is 2. So it is here 1 and this is 2. Two small r, two small y. It is also only one which exists. So this is the, so there should be 16. So you can count here 1 is to 2 is to 1 is to 2 is to 4, 2 is to 1, 2 is to 1. So how many there are? 16. 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 1, 4, 4 plus 2, 6, 6 plus 4, 10, 10 plus 2, 12, 12 plus 1, 13, 13 plus 2, 15, 15 plus 1, 16. So here we get the 16, then it is correct. Okay. Okay. Now, third law of independent assortment. So the example for third law of independent assortment is the dihybrid cross. So here I have written it is based on the result of the dihybrid cross. Yeah. So what does it explains the dihybrid cross? What is the law of independent assortment? So here coming to the law of independent assortment, which explains inheritance of the two genes here. So the law states as such, that is with the, it states that factors for two or more pairs of contrasting characters are distributed independently of one another at the time of gamete formation. How many factors they are? The factors of two or more pairs of contrasting characters. So here is two or more pairs. So here how many pairs we have taken? This is one pair. This is another two pair. So this factor pair 1, this is factor pair 2. When they are being crossed, you can see the possibility, second possibility, this is first possibility. So here when they are brought together, they get a distributed, see, independently. They are brought together, but they get distributed independently here. Can you see? They have got distributed independently. And when they undergo mitosis here, you can see the gametes are represents the two, independently they get distributed. So that's what we call it as law of independent assortment. So once again, I'll tell you the factors, that is the factors for two or more pairs of contrasting characters are distributed independently of one another at the time of gamete formation. So this all are four are said to be the gametes. So that what is stated here also. When more than one pair of characters are involved in a cross, factor pairs independently segregate from the other pair of characters. So this is called as law of independent assortment. The concept of dominance. So here is an example we have shown regarding the concept of dominance. That is, every gene contains information to express a particular trait. In heterozygotic, there are two types of alleles as we have notified. So unmodified, normal or functioning. Unmodified means either it will be normal or functioning. So unmodified allele, it is generally dominant and represent original phenotype. The modified allele, it is generally recessive. So unmodified means it is the originality, so it will be dominating characteristic. Modified allele means it will be recessive characters if in the presence of the dominating character, this character will be suppressed. So here you can see unmodified allele. So both are said to be unmodified allele. So here you get the homozygous gene pair. So here you'll have one will be unmodified original allele Another one is modified, which represented in red color. So it becomes what? Heterozygous gene pair. Then allele of a brown eye color is unmodified allele, which we call it as a dominating character. The allele of the blue eye color is a modified allele, so we call it as a recessive character. So the modified allele and also the modified allele, when they are in a pair, gene pair, as it will be represented in the offspring or a zygote, it will form a recessive characteristic. It will not form a dominating characteristic. So this type of gene will result in this type of recessive characteristic. Whether unmodified, this homozygous gene pairs, it will result in the, since the green is said to be the dominating, it may result either in a brown or black color eyes. Okay, eye color might be brown or black color with this gene cases, such as heterozygous gene pair or homozygous gene pair. If it is having unmodified allele, it will be dominating characteristic. Okay, this is a second example for the concept of the dominance regarding the enzyme. Consider a gene that contains information produced in an enzyme. Normal allele of a gene will produce normal enzyme. Modified allele is responsible for production of the either non-functional uh, enzymes it may produce. So let us see. So normal or less efficient enzyme. So here in this case, the modified allele will produce the same phenotype like unmodified allele. Thus, modified allele is equivalent to unmodified allele here. So, unmodified allele produces the enzymes. So, it produces green color, means here modified allele will produce a red color enzyme. That is an example they have shown you here. So, usually what do we understand? The information, a gene that contains information for producing an enzyme. Here normal allele will produce normal enzyme. Modified allele will produce what not abnormal enzyme but non-functional enzymes, we can tell. In this case, the phenotype will dependent on the functioning of unmodified alleles only. Thus, the modified alleles becomes recessive. Only thing you understand, the normal allele gene produce the normal enzyme which is said to be dominating characteristic, and the modified allele is responsible in the production. It becomes modified allele always in the presence of unmodified allele. It becomes the recessive character. That is only the meaning of this example. So what is it? Once again I'll repeat here. Normal allele will produce a normal enzyme, so which is a dominating characteristic. Modified allele, though it produces also in the presence of modified allele, it is always considered to be the recessive one. So I think so you have understood this video, children. So I'll come with another concept of principle of inheritance in the next class. Okay, thank you. If you have not understood, please do come, ask your doubts and go, or you can also ask through message or call me. Thank you.